this okay? Because sometimes it be saying I'm live and then it doesn't like pick up the audio, or not the audio, but it doesn't pick up the it doesn't actually start recording what I'm saying until like a few seconds. So just want to make sure um you guys can hear me. I don't have my mic thing in because I need to charge my iPad. So this should be good. If you guys are on the West Coast, or guys, depending if you guys are on PST time, Pacific Standard Time, might be a little bit early where you guys are. It's almost noon where we are. It's 11:55 a.m. here. For others of you, it could be well into the afternoon, or you could be watching this whenever. So, hey, Besso, how are you? Long time no speak. How you been? Hey. So I just wanted to come on here and do like a quick message. I don't know how it's gonna go. I'm just gonna flow into this, and I probably will share like, you know, a testimony connected to this. So as you guys see in the title, complain and blame. Okay, you want to be very careful of that at this time in this season where you're at in your journey. And I'll say this. It's normal to get discouraged. Like, we're human. Like, we have a wide range of emotions as humans, right? So complaining and maybe even blame, like, as long as you don't become a chronic complainer and blamer, you know what I mean? Because what that does, before I even get into what complaining and blaming does to you on an energetic, vibrational level, spiritual level, how it actually hinders you, how it actually prolongs your process, how it actually delays things for you, because it's kind of like a child in a grocery store complaining and crying about what they want, and mommy, I want it, and why can't I have it, and crying, and it's like it's not going to change anything. You're hurting and harming yourself, right? So I just, if you guys seen on my community tab recently, I shared a list of tests that you go through on your journey when you're very close. I believe that when you're close to a breakthrough, whether that breakthrough be a level of wisdom that comes to you, a revelation, a breakthrough of clarity, truth and understanding of what's going on, or whether that be like a blessing is about to come to you, something tangible is about to be blessed, you're about to be blessed with. And we got to be very careful because a lot of these are tests to check our temperature, to see where our vibration is. Are we really ready? Can we still, and I will say, I'll break it down to you in a way. I don't know if I'm gonna go into it in depth. I might do a separate video of this. But shout out to my friend Nina. Her friend, she was telling her friend about what I was dealing with, and her friends sent this to her to send to me. And so I'm grateful for that. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna share this because some of these tests, like, you could be going through these right now. I'll just list them real quick. So the first test is test of service. Number 2, test of hiddenness. Number 3, test of discouragement. Test 4, of faithfulness. Test 5, of blessings. Test 6, test of jealousy. 7, test of faith. You might be going through these things all at once, like different tests in these areas, or where you're being triggered in these specific areas, or maybe like in a season of that. I know one of my greatest tests, I'm gonna be transparent real quick. Test of service. I love to give to people. There's that part where I'll get caught up in the complaining, and I'll say, God, I do all of this, I do all of that. Not like I'm keeping record and keeping score, but after a while you're like, dang, spirit, I'm giving, I'm doing this, and why am I still dealing with this, or why am I still in this? Why hasn't this happened for me yet, spirit? And I'm not a person, like, when I'm genuinely happy for people, I'm genuinely happy for them. My issue is I'll get into a place where I'm like, oh, I'm clapping, and I'm happy for people, and then I sit down and I'm like, okay, well, spirit, well, what about me? You know what I mean? And you gotta be careful of that. Because there's no guarantee all the time that you're going to get what you want or get exactly what you want. You'll get exactly what you need, which is a blessing within itself, too. And sometimes it's just about your time, your season, and your posture, where you're at with things. Another one of my tests is test of hiddenness, where I feel like I deal with being overlooked. I feel like I get overlooked a lot, whether it's for opportunities, whether it's love and romance. And then when you sit back and you're like, okay, that opportunity was not for me, that wouldn't have really made me happy. Or this guy was not really for me. Or these people that I thought that I wanted to be surrounded by, they're not really for me. So you got to be okay with that. And sometimes it's protection. You're being protected. Not even sometimes. When it's divine spirit doing it, it's protection. Sometimes we can't hide ourselves due to wounds, due to trauma, or we're around the wrong people, we're in the wrong environments. But yeah, a lot of times when you're being cultivated, or when you're of some type of value, of some type of divine service or usage, you might have to be hidden for a time, because if certain people are like, okay, I see that this person has this gift, how can I exploit that person? You know what I mean? Like, no, spirit don't want that for you. So that was one of my things. Discouragement, the test of discouragement kind of ties into the what about me spirit. When is it going to be my time? Or what am I doing wrong? Test of faith. Test of faith. And faithfulness goes hand in hand. Faithfulness is being faithful to something, whether it's your journey, whether it's believing in spirit for things, or God, believing in God for things, or knowing that it's going to come to pass. And then the test of faith within itself is standing in that trust and belief that it's going to happen, because faith is the substance of things unseen yet hoped for, yet unseen. It's unseen first before it becomes the actual physical thing. So I'll probably go into this a lot. Hey, Bonita. I'll probably go into this like in depth. Like if spirit reveals more to me about these seven tests, I'll go into them in depth. But I can tell you right now that if you're in this process where it's like you start to complain and be like, okay, I'm tired of giving, I'm tired of helping people. And I probably said this in another live or video or something sometimes. I think I talked about the topic of the what about me, and when you're waiting and you're looking at everybody else, and it seems like everybody else around you is getting blessed in certain areas, and maybe even areas that you're like that you desire for something to take place. Hey Ashley, hey, how you doing? Like that test alone of still giving to people can be very challenging sometimes, even if you're a natural giver, that you love to give back to people. And for me, I love to give to people. That's the whole reason why I started my channel. And I remember that I started to waver in faith so much that I was like, I'm doing all of this for other people. And I had to catch myself, because it's like, you're getting entitled, because you're looking and you're saying to yourself, okay, I did all of this. What about me? And not understanding the process and the journey. So entitlement can manifest itself into complaining and blaming people. Oh, well, it must be because of it. Like, you got to be careful of that. You got to take accountability somewhere on your journey, because what you're doing is you're constantly blaming yourself. You're blaming other people, and you're not doing the work. You're not healing. And I know that's probably a triggering thing to hear, like healing and doing the work and all of that. But you got to maintenance your spiritual vessel, your spiritual or physical vessel, spiritual and physical vehicle. It needs maintenance. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you guys, oh, everything's gonna fall into your lap. You can be a shitty person and it's gonna fall into your lap. Shitty people of the world and demonic people in the world, they manifest material wealth because they believe that they deserve it. But the thing is when it comes to true blessings and things that are going to bless other people, because you notice that the evil people of the world, they don't give anything to people. They don't give back. They don't give anything, whether it's energetically or whether it's material wise. We shouldn't live in a society where there's homeless people laying out on the street, or people that don't have a living. And now they're raising the prices on housing, and people are barely making enough, two times or three times the rent, as they say now, or whatever. It shouldn't be that way. If these people that are in a source of power, if they were really truly blessed from God, they would give. And that's another test for some people. When you're blessed, are you giving? Do you still give even when you have a little bit? And it doesn't always have to be a material that you're giving on a material level, a financial level. Sometimes it's giving somebody words of wisdom, or sometimes it's giving people a compliment. Sometimes it's listening to someone that's in need, or just being there for them, or giving somebody a hug, or cooking something for them, out of the kindness of your heart, not because it's a duty. And when things start to become a duty, it starts to be done in vain. And I had to catch myself with that too. Because I'm like, okay, I know I'm like called to help people when it comes to love and when it comes to self love, mainly women specifically, but men, I believe that, those that really want the healing, they'll be drawn or gravitated to the channel, just like the women that really want healing. Um, that's what I'm here for. That's the only reason why I started my channel, is because I felt led to help people and I love to do it. And mainly it's in love. And that's mainly where spirit has been really testing me in and healing me, is from relationship dynamics. So I have a passion for that. It's not just all about love in a way of desperation. I don't want it to be about that. I want people to be healthy within themselves and be in good and healthy relationships. And I've never been married before, but the grace to be able to help my friend with and her husband, doing a FaceTime call with them and helping them like discern and go within themselves, that was like, that's God. Like, because I don't know nothing about marriage. I've never been married. I don't know what a healthy marriage looks like. My parents didn't have a healthy marriage, so I don't know what that looks like. So in order to be able to do that, that's God. I can't take credit for that. So when I come on here, I'm speaking to those people that really want to get free and want to, if you really want a healthy relationship, because love itself is not bad. Wanting to be in a loving relationship and wanting to be happy in love and a relationship, or to be married to someone that you genuinely love and care about and genuinely loves you, that's not a bad thing. It's nothing to frown or shame yourself about. But the thing really is can you can you be able to be happy even when you don't have it right now? Can you be happy for people that seemingly have what you want, right? Can you be happy for your sister, your brother, your cousin, or your friend that has met the love of their life? Can you genuinely be happy for them? Because if not, if you're someone that is walking around, and this is what I noticed with some people that don't really like to take accountability for themselves, they like to blame everybody. And what that does is it keeps you stuck in a karmic cycle, in a loop, because you're not freeing yourself. You're pointing the finger externally, even if people have hurt you or wronged you. It has to come to a certain point where you say, okay, I gotta get myself right. I seen a card. It was like an oracle card that this girl made, and I just seen it this morning on Instagram, and it says something like, when you, what is it, when you unforgive or when you have resentment in your heart, you're shitting on your own heart. Which is literally true, because anytime we keep that bitterness and that hatred in our heart, we're just pouring more and more dirt on it, more and more shit on it. You know what I mean? Rather than purging all of that pain out of you and pouring light into it. And you got to be careful of being that constant complainer, because I've done it. I used to be a chronic complainer at one point in my life, because I looked at things in the wrong way. I wasn't seeing things in a divine perspective. I wasn't taking accountability for where I was, because yeah, even if this person and that person hurt me and they wronged me, or I felt like this was being stripped or taken away from me, I wasn't giving myself the grace to say, but I don't want to be here though. I don't like how this feels. I don't want to hold myself to this anymore. I don't want to hold myself to this anymore. And when people get into that thing where they constantly blame people, and I notice narcissistic people, that are people that have narcissistic like personality types or traits in them, they typically like to blame everybody. It takes the focus off of them seeing themselves. They don't want to do that. They want to stay in an illusion that everything is okay, or what they're doing is okay. They're free to hurt people because they're hurt. Like they say, hurt people hurt people. So, and also too, like, you can become a discouragement for other people. That's why I hate, like, I really can't stand when I see people in comment sections on videos where somebody might say something that triggers them, and then they try to like discourage everybody else. Oh, this is just bullshit. It's never gonna happen. I don't know why you guys are sitting here waiting on this to happen. It's just a lie. This is, or why are you guys listening to this? That's an agent of the enemy. Even if you don't realize you're being an agent, you are, because you're trying to like pour that despair, that discouragement, and that negativity onto everybody else. That's the enemy. And you got to be very careful of those people. Like, when people like that come on my stuff, you got to ignore that. That's the enemy. Especially when something's like about, people don't know that they're used. Like, people don't know sometimes even that they're being divinely used. Like, you can say things out of your mouth and not know the weight of it and how it's helping somebody. Just as the same as somebody might not know the weight of the fact that they're being demonically used to discourage people. They may not even know that they're doing that. They might just be complaining and out of their mouth, but they're operating under a demonic like energy, or lower vibrational, for those of you that need the kiddie pool. Lower vibrational energy. Um, yeah. Can you like really still be of service? And that's another key thing, like in your single season, that I feel like is so important is, okay, it's like kind of like a catch 22. Like, you gotta be, when you're single, you gotta be focused on yourself in a healthy way, but also still make yourself available to give to others and pour back into others, and be open to healthy relationships that you already have present in your life with people. Don't just be like, oh, I'm only wanting love, and then you just deny and ignore your friendships or your family dynamics. Still pour into those situations. Be grateful for those people that do take presence in your life. Sorry, that do take presence in your life right now. Um, but also too, like, when you're single, it's a perfect and opportune time for you to really, really, really not just work on yourself emotionally, spiritually, mentally, but start building for yourself outside, when it comes to like your business or your career, your creative hobbies, or if it's a time where you want to travel, you want to push yourself out of your comfort zone and do things that you've never done before, challenge yourself. It's an opportune time to also, most importantly, to get to know yourself on a deep core level and God, have a relationship with spirit. When it's just you alone, that's the perfect time to build a relationship on yourself. It's not a time to be thinking something is wrong with you, you're not good enough because you don't got a man, or you don't got a woman, or you don't have 50 men in your DMs, or you don't have all these dates and stuff like that. Like, sometimes it's by design, because I don't believe that it's healthy for people to get out of one relationship and then go out and try to find somebody else again, because what you'll see 9 times out of 10 is you're just repeating cycles. It's almost like you can't be by yourself. It just can't just be you. It can't just be you. Even if you're looking at it from a perspective, I just want to have sex, I just want some sex buddies in the time being, like, that's still a distraction. Why do you feel like you need that? Sexual energy is just creative energy at the end of the day, and you can pour that energy into something creative. Discipline yourself. Sex is not a bad thing, but how it's utilized, how people like tap into that energy, sometimes it's not healthy. I would even question sometimes, like, why do I have to have sex all the time? So most likely, I'm gonna say the kiddie pool version, a lower vibrational energy, but actuality it's just a demonic energy. It's a lust thing where you have to have that, or it's something inside of you that it's a void that has to be filled inside of you, where you feel like you're desired. That's why some people, they get off to, even if they don't want these men or women, they get off to the fact that they get likes, thousands of likes from men or women, or they get DMs or people telling them that they're sexy, they're beautiful. Hey, ma, what's up with you? What's good with you? Or women all on the job. Oh, you're so fine. Oh my God. Oh, I do this for you. Like, it's an ego boost. It's filling a void. And then when I put that into perspective for myself, when I was like, okay, because this, I'm gonna be so transparent with this too. When I was healing more, making myself unavailable for just everybody and anybody, not knowing that that's what I was doing, because in my perspective, I was like, I can still heal and go out and date just whoever I liked. And that's not the case, because just because you like a person or somebody seems like they're, they're compatible enough for you, or they're cute, or they got something going, doesn't necessarily mean that they're good for you, and vice versa. So the more and more I started to heal, the more and more I stopped being approached by people. My energy was different, my posture was different. It kind of made it difficult for people to just walk up to me, because that that need for validation, or that I'm available to have sex if I like you, because culture nowadays is like, if I like you, we kick it, we hit it off, we want to sleep together, we're gonna sleep together. There's no standard behind it that says like, nah, if he's not courting me, or if he's not truly invested in me, then I'm not opening my legs to him. I'm not gonna sleep with him. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna do those things. So your vibration is gonna be different, and you're gonna stop attracting those same type of people to you. They're not gonna be in, because you're not on that vibration anymore. So naturally, those vibrations are gonna be conflicted. And it also could be too that spirit is causing a separation from those types of people, so that it can make room for people that are on your vibrational level, someone that meets your level, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, someone that is also holding themselves to a standard that they're not just going to date any man or woman either. They're not just going to sleep with any man or woman, and that's very rare in today's society, because like I say all the time, like sex is just like, it might as well just be a buffet. Like, it is what it is. It's a piece of candy. Like, you just take it. You just put your hand in. Okay, I'm just okay. It's not looked as something that's meant to be kept sacred, and not everybody can have that with me. And some people might say, well, I don't just sleep with anybody. But the way that you give your body so freely to people, even in the sense of, this person ain't really even doing anything for you, in a you just using them. Like, some people just use people for sex. May not want that person, you may not have any emotional attachment to them, but you're still feeding in that energy. Why do you need to do that? For what? It makes no sense. But I mean, nowadays it's just like, okay, it's a thing to say, well, I do what I want my body. And you're absolutely right, you can do whatever you want with your body, but it has consequences behind it. Ultimately ultimately um you could be swapping demons with a person, and they're swapping something with you. You just don't know, you know what I mean? It may not be conscious, because this person is talking a good game, or y'all really hit it off, or they could be a good person, but this person got all kind of trauma, or they're already sleeping with multiple women on the side, and y'all just swapping energy. Y'all exchanging all kind of garbage. Especially if this person is like, and this is another thing too, like I had experiences where, and I feel like nowadays everybody always got somebody. Unless you're really, really on a path where you're really focused on yourself, you might not have somebody. But usually everybody has somebody on the side that they are attached to. And I find like commonly men have somebody that they're in a situationship with. They might talk to you when they're on a break from that person, but they're still yoked to that person energetically. So they're pouring into you all of the issues and things that they got going on with that other woman or that other man, maybe for some, and it's just a cesspool of shit energetically going on, and then you get tied all up in it, and they're confused about you, and then they're confused about this person, and they're pulling on your energy. So I'm like, date with purpose. Because if you're not dating with the clear intention of getting to know a person, and you just go in just dating casually, you're getting like tied up in soul ties and stuff. Like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Poly relationships, I don't agree with it in a sense of like, because really it's a family system. That's really what it really was about. It was never about men having sex with multiple wives, like having multiple wives that they all sleep together in the bed and they doing freaky shit. That's the counterfeit version of it. Poly relationships, really, like, traditionally the multiple wives had different roles that they fulfilled. One wife may have been the one that they were romantically tied to. The other wives may have just been like the cooks. They might have been the teachers. They might have been the ones that stayed home with the kids or good with the finance. Like, they all had different roles. Or the men was the provider of the household. It was a family system. It was never meant to be some nasty shit. Like, that's just like the counterfeit spin on it, because men, the toxic masculinity, and the broken women that get tied up in that, because naturally a woman doesn't really want that. And if they do, it's because they're in that false femininity that's actually masculine, like a toxic masculinity. When I was when I was in my early 20s, like 18 to like early 20s, when I was like out, just out there doing a lot, I would operate in toxic femininity, like where it was masculine. It wasn't true femininity. It was actually masculinity, because I was using assertion and manipulation, but cloaking it as femininity, like using my body, using certain gestures to get attention or to spark something, because I liked attention. That was that Jezebel spirit that liked attention. So I would do certain things. I would position myself a certain way, posture myself in a way, because I knew it would get it would get somebody riled up, and I had to have attention on me. That's brokenness. And I was sexually deviant, where like it didn't take, I wouldn't just sleep with anybody, but if you fed into my ego in a certain way, or it was enough conversation to be like, oh, you're cool, it wouldn't be too hard to just have sex. And nowadays I can't even do that anymore. Like, it's not in me. It's not even there anymore. And I knew that was a spirit, because how I was operating, how I look at it now, I would never do that anymore. Like, I don't even have it in me to even trigger that and do that. So that's how I knew that was a spirit. So, or for the kiddie pool phrase or verbiage, lower vibrational energy. But it was a demonic energy that I was operating in. So, because now, like, when I look back at it, none of those men really were of value to me. They didn't pour anything into me. It was just sex, or it was just flattery, and vice versa. It wasn't like they weren't doing anything worth, me holding on to. So, some things we don't realize it until we get delivered from it, that, oh shit, I was operating, excuse my language, I was operating in some dirty crap back in the day. I was doing some stuff that I had no business. I was really out here operating in some like really seductive, lower vibrational energy. And sexual energy, like I said, if it's utilized in a healthy way, especially when it's shared between two people and they're on that same vibration and it's sacred between the two of them, it's different. But I feel like that lower vibration, because it's something to keep people tied and keep people stuck. You know what I mean? That's why when like women get with men that are unsure about them, they sleep with this man because their heart has been activated, or because they want to be in a relationship so bad, or they make themselves believe like, okay, this person has sparked something in me. But usually it's just trauma bonding. This person and you are vibrating in your trauma, and it feels like you're truly bonding, but it doesn't surpass a certain level. There's no elevation in the connection. It's just a cycle. You don't get anywhere with this person. They'll sometimes, like, the trick there, like, there'll be tricks that make you believe like, okay, we're elevating, we're going somewhere, because it seems like this person is doing something different, but then they go back to doing the same stuff. That's showing you that that was just that was for show. That person wasn't truly changed, or that person and you are not really elevating. It's a false connection, so it's going to keep you in this cycle or this up and down roller coasters. You're up and then you're down again, and then you can get addicted to that because it can feel like an amusement park ride, right? People like amusement parks. They like the drops, they like the spins, they like the whatever, right? So your hormones, certain parts in your body, your cells get act like that dopamine or that high gets activated to where you're kind of addicted to the cycle. Even though there's a part of you that's unhappy and you know that okay, somewhere in you feels like maybe this ain't my person or this isn't really what I deserve, you go through the cycles because it feeds that void inside of you. It's a thrill for you, right? And you'll get attached to the person, you'll sleep with them, or if you're not sleeping with them, because this you can still get attached to people without sleeping with them. This has happened to me multiple times where I'll fancy somebody. Somebody will come into my experience of my life, or we might talk for a minute or something, and then if they're not right or they're not fit, they'll feed into a certain part of me that likes the attention or may feel like it's kind of similar to what I want, but it's a counterfeit version of what I want because it's really not. It's not going anywhere, and you'll get attached to the idea of a person, and your heart will get attached. You'll start noticing you're not open and making yourself available to anybody else. You'll start noticing that you'll get really, really, really entitled to the point where you're like, it has to be this person, nobody else, even if you're suffering in the process of it. That's an attachment. So you don't just gotta lay down with somebody to have that attachment or aka soul tie with that person. You can form that, or you can speak out of your mouth, this is what I want, or this is my person, and then you'll start to pour into that more and more to where you've created an attachment. You've created a tie with somebody that you had no business being with in the first place or entertaining in the first place. And that happens a lot. A lot, a lot. But getting back to the whole complain and blame thing, it will prolong and delay your process because you're focusing on a so-called problem and you're amplifying it rather than opening yourself up to the solution or the higher perspective of what's really happening. So much so that you get stuck in that course, that you're not elevating, you're not graduating with where you're supposed to be, or graduating with everybody that may be in the season with you. You might hold everybody else back because you're speaking negativity, and I have to be very careful of that. Spirit convicted me of that, or at least like that part of myself that could be a chronic complainer, where I cried about everything because I wasn't allowing myself to be like, okay, there's a purpose and reason why this is happening, and it may not be bad. It may just be helping me to release something or let me know like, okay, that didn't work out because it wasn't supposed to. That didn't work out because it wasn't for you. Ultimately, you wouldn't have been happy, or ultimately, it could have been something that could have been a hindrance or danger to you at some point, right? We don't think about those things. We only say, why didn't it happen? Why am I getting denied of this? And we don't see the other side of it. Just like a parent will tell their kid, no, you don't need that. And it's because they truly don't need it. Or you tell your kid, I don't want you hanging out with that friend. It's because you can see within yourself like that child may be out there doing stuff that my kid has no business doing. I don't want you associating with that person. And we'll look at our parents like, oh, they're so mean. Oh, they're so strict. And some parents might be a little bit overbearing, a little bit paranoid. But most times, parents have a knowing because they've lived. They know. They can see. Especially if you're a mother or father that has like discernment and you're a seer, you can sense energies. You're an empath. So you can tell if a child is into some stuff your kid has no business, or you may know this about them. Like I had little fast little girlfriends when I was little. My grandma would be able to discern real quick what she was on, and I would think my grandma was just being mean and wouldn't let me hang out with people, and she just wanted me to be a loner and loser and so just doing this all kind of goofy stuff. But in actuality, she was protecting me because she could see something that maybe I wasn't aware of, I didn't have discernment about. So instead of saying like, oh, why is the universe punishing me, or why is God punishing, it's not it. If anything, When your parent loves you, they hold you accountable because they want to see you do well. Same thing with the divine. Spirit's not going to let you slack off. So if you're complaining constantly, why is this happening to me? I want to blame everybody. You're a chronic complainer and blamer. You're blocking yourself. You're hindering yourself. You can blame your mama and your daddy for all of your problems and keep that in, but all that is saying is, I don't want to be free from that. I want to hold on to this pain. I want to keep it. It's not going to break until you're truly tired of it. So you don't want to be there stuck in that vibration anymore. If I would have kept crying and complaining, be like, oh, this guy, he played me, he used me, he lied to me. If I stay stuck in that, crying over a dude that wasn't for me in the first place, I'll never make myself open and available for the person that is, because I'm stuck on the former. I'm stuck on the past. I'm stuck on the pain and the trauma. And it's not saying that the person is like blameless, but it means like you want to free yourself enough that you're not giving power and dominion to some hurt or some wound or some trauma or somebody that hurt you. You're letting this person live rent free in your mind and in your heart. You're giving them too much credit and power over your mind, over your emotions, and ultimately allowing them to block your blessings because you're giving them the authority to do that. Humans need a victim. Blank. They got it. Or humans need a villain in their story. It's just natural to us. We got to have a villain. Somebody got to play villain, right? It's just what it is all the time. Rather than saying I'm the hero in my own circumstances, to where I overcome the villain in my mind by freeing my own self. You don't fight your battles while in trauma. That never works. And sometimes spirit don't bless certain people, or when we're in that energy of resentment and bitterness, spirit's not going to bless you with a new car if they know, if spirit knows, divine spirit, God, whatever source knows that when you get that car, you're going to go around your ex's neighborhood and hope that he or she sees you in that whip. That's a form of, that's evil. That's demonic. And I know they show that in the movies where the girl, she comes in and she's got this, she got that fly dress on, her hair, she whips her hair in front of the dude and his new woman, and it's like that's the victory moment in the movie. That's evil, because that's not how it's supposed to work. See, when you get blessed with things from the divine, do you have it in your heart enough to say to this person, like, let's say you win $1 million and your father was never in your life, or your father raped you or something. God forbid that, but if it's happened, let's say your father was abusive towards you and your father needs cancer treatment. He's sick and you have the money to help him with that. Can you find it in your heart to say, and some people they're gonna get lost. It is what it is. Y'all heart ain't right. Can you say it in yourself enough to be like, that's my dad at the end of the day. He brought me here. Yeah, he hurt me, but I don't wish death on anybody. Let me go ahead and pay for the cancer treatment. Do you have it in your heart to say that? Or you're going to be like, oh, fuck him. He did this to me. He raped me. He did this. He did. That's not an easy thing to do. No, it's not. But do you have it in your heart to still be able to bless people, bless your enemies, even though they spitefully use you and hurt you? And sometimes humans are just humans, and we have the tendency to be flawed. Sometimes it don't got to be so sinister. Sometimes your villain was just someone that was just as wounded as you, or maybe didn't intend to offend you, but it happened, right? Let's say like your bullies in high school. Your bullies, they ruined your experience in high school. They made you question yourself. They made you feel fear. They made you feel like, you weren't good enough. They made you feel like an orphan. You see them later on in life. Would you sit there and flip your hair and be like, whatever, bitch, like you fat now, or oh, your husband, you all got a divorce? Like, that's not the posture of somebody that has a heart. So spirit's not going to bless you just so that you can stun on your haters. That's not what that's about. It's not going to happen. If that's the fantasy you have in your head, your heart's still not right. It's not. It's not. So, be very mindful of complaining and blame because it will block your blessings. It's not that it could, it will. It'll prolong and delay your process because your vibration is not in a place of receptivity. If you want to manifest from a place of your ego, because like I said, like rich people, they believe vibrationally that they deserve to be wealthy or that they're deserving of this or that. And some people are like, well, why are the evil people always rich, or why does it seem like the bad people always get ahead? It's because they believe, they feel entitled. They, in their vibration, they are saying yes to these things. They're not saying, oh, I don't deserve it or I can't have it. They're vibrationally saying I'm available to it. But the problem is it's not truly a blessing, though. It's not coming from a divine source of things that are vibrationally in alignment with you. Um, because blessings are also an extension, not only for you, but an extension of other people. Because when someone that has a good heart gets blessed, gets poured into, they are naturally have a desire to give that blessing out to others. Even if your blessing is your testimony, you know, like spirit could have helped someone heal and like overcome cancer, and you'll be led to write a book about it that may bless somebody else reading it, or somebody that has a family member going through it. You just never know. Someone that went through um, domestic violence, I don't know if I could say that without getting flagged, but has gone through that, and they write a book, or they, you know, share their story online, or they go on a TV show and share their story. Some woman at home sitting watching that show gets free of her situation. That's what a blessing is. It's an extension. It's not just for you, but it's for others too. That's a true blessing. If you have it to give, you'll give it. I tell you, it really like, and I have to get over this too, because it's like it's another thing of like entitlement, and I don't know if it's really entitlement or just the expectation of, you know, people should want to hear good news, or people should want to get free from things, but the truth is some people are not ready, and I can't take offense to that. I can't take offense to it because I'm not a part of the demographic that talks about who's doing witchcraft on you and spell work, and you're, you know, everybody's gonna be jealous of you when they see these blessings. That's I can't. I'm not that person. I'm not that reader. I'm not that channel that can do that. That type of stuff, like, yeah, it could be true to an extent. Like, yeah, it's not to say that these things don't happen to people. Spell work and witchcraft is very prevalent right now. People just hands on, just putting spells on people, or attempting to put spells on people, and doing stuff to hurt somebody because they made them mad, or they want to take somebody's man, or they want to bind somebody with a witchcraft spell or something. That stuff really does happen. But the thing is like, I'm not going to be that reader that tells you what you want to hear. I can't do that. 9 times out of 10, the things that we want to hear is just to keep us comfortable. It sounds good to hear that stuff. Oh, your ex is going to regret the day that they did this to you and they chose the karmic over you. That stuff, it feels good to the ego to hear that. It really does. Especially if a person hurts you. That, it feels good to hear, right? Oh, yeah. He better regret hurting me. Oh, yeah, he going to get it and da-da-da-da-da. Or, oh, the karmic is jealous. That's all ego. That's all ego. All that stuff is ego. Not to say that it can't be true, that these people could be really jealous, or they might really regret hurting you, or you know what I mean. But to the posture of your heart to get a thrill out of that, it's not good. That you get a thrill out of that. And naturally, when people hurt us, yeah, we want to see them get what we feel like they did to us. And sometimes we try to play God, where we try to inflict pain upon a person that we feel inflicted pain upon us. That's demonic. You don't get to play judge and get to play God and try to hurt somebody and get payback for what they did to you. You're just as evil as them. If that was their intent to hurt you and inflict you, you're just as evil as they are then. Just as it's just as evil. Just because they did it in a different way doesn't make it any better. You're still operating in that same demonic energy. If that person really did inflict pain upon you intentionally, then you're just as evil as they are in that moment. Your heart is not right at that moment. So, like, careful of that too. Where you're putting your deposits in and you watching these videos, or you got it in your heart and your mind that I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna get snatched. So then when I see this dude, I'm gonna flip my hair in front of him and make him feel like shit, or I'm gonna bring another dude around him. I'm gonna date somebody that you genuinely probably don't even like, but you want him to see it. Also, they can feel how you felt. That is evil. Or you want to make a person's life a living hell because they weren't the person, they didn't end up being with you, or maybe they moved on, they married, or you feel like they don't deserve to be happy because they didn't choose you, sis or bro, whatever. If they're not your person, why are you tripping off of it? You're delaying your process. And who's to say that that person is truly happy in that relationship? It's not your business anyway. But you might want to be careful if that person truly isn't a blessed union and you over here trying to do toxic stuff and all, like, you gotta be careful. And I say this all the time because I know that I offend people that um, get triggered by me. People that are not emotionally, in tuned enough with themselves, they'll take offense to anybody that triggers a wound that really is exposed so that it can get healed, not to hurt them, but because they don't want to get free. So they'll attack me or they'll attack others alike that are meant to help them, and you got to be careful with that too. Because if God is sending somebody to help you, and it may be somebody that offends that spirit in you, and you attack them or you try to, whatever you try to do, you got to be careful with that. You're harming yourself. Don't block your blessings, you guys, because you want to seek revenge, or because you're complaining about your journey. You're complaining why this is happening rather than to seek the divine, seek God. Where am I at? Why is this happening? Where should I place my focus? How do I heal this? How do I? But you gotta want to do that though. Nobody can tell you that that's what you gotta do per se. You gotta want that for yourself. You have to really want it. You have to really want it. There's some people to this day that I still um, look at as like, I really can't stand you because of how wicked you were towards me, and it's very hard to forgive and all of that, and not play into that like, God, why won't you get them? But that's none of my business. And there's some people that have hurt me that I look and say they're wounded, and I don't love them any less because I can understand where he or she was coming from. But I do admit that there are some people that have really, really hurt me, and I know they hurt me intentionally, where I really resent them, and sometimes I'll even be like really feeling discouraged, like, God, why? But I know that God's gonna handle it. It's not my business. It's not my business. So I'm not going to hold myself, because what you do is you give power and dominion to the enemy over your heart and over your mind and over ultimately over your blessings, because you're, like I said, you're giving them the authority to block your blessings by holding on to what they did or what they said, how they said it. No. By the way, I want to share this with y'all real quick. I almost forgot. I was kind of contemplating sharing it on the community, but I'm gonna do it now. So yesterday, when I was talking to one of my sisters, and I was telling her about what I was dealing with, so I was being tested, and right when I was, because I was out walking my dog yesterday morning, and right when I was telling her like this one thing, I ran across. Hold on, I gotta turn my lighting down because it's reflecting on the camera. Right when it happened, I seen this picture. Don't mind my jewelry table, y'all. It's a fucking mess. It really is. Like all my arts and crafts and stuff is like on this table and it looks really messy. But um I I knew right away what it meant, and I took a picture because whoever the little kids were that drew it, they they were so creative and like gifted enough. Like I don't know how to explain it. They put pink hearts in the heart, like in the chest of these people, and I was like, I didn't notice it until Tori, she pointed it out to me. She was like, and they have hearts. They have these pink hearts in their chest, and I seen it, and I was like, wow, the heart. So they drew a rainbow, which is a symbol of promises, God's covenant. The clouds are there as well. I wrote it down, but I don't know what to do with my journal. But clouds can also represent glory. That snake, because they drew a snake on the side. I don't know why. And when I seen that, I heard a scripture. It's we have the authority to trample over scorpions and serpents or something like that. It was Luke 10 and 19. I have given you authority to trample over snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. So again, like you have the authority to trample over these things by not allowing it to take authority and precedence over your life and block your blessings. And I was led to Genesis 9 and 16, which is whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth. So there's a promise. There's always a promise, the word promise by definition, I'm paraphrasing it, just means something that is definitely going to be, which definitely is going to happen, right? It's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's inevitable, right? That is God's word. God is not, as they say, God is not a man that he should lie, meaning God is not a man. God is an essence. It's a presence. God is not something that you can put in a box where man or woman might say, yeah, I'll show up to the party, and then you never hear from him. God doesn't have a posture like that. God is not a fleshly being. We as fleshly beings, we're flawed. We can mess up. You know what I mean? We can say things and genuinely be like, yeah, I'm going to go to your party, but then we might feel like that day, like, oh, I don't feel like going anywhere and not go. But God is not like that. If God makes a promise to you, it's going to come to pass. That's the law. That's quote unquote law of attraction, right? It's already solidified spiritually, so it must come to pass physically. There's no taking it back. If God said you're going to be married, God's not going to take it back and be like, oh, you missed it. Sorry, it's never going to happen. You might delay the process, but that doesn't mean that the promise is never going to come to pass. So, yeah, that's just something that I was like, I felt like that was a reminder from God. It happened so divine. Like I was literally just saying something and I was walking my dog and I looked down and I seen that. And the way that they set it up, I knew that was God. Like kids are so divine. They are. Kids are so intelligent, so in tuned. So, yeah. Sometimes they don't even know like what they say or when they're doing certain things, they don't really know because they're pure before they get programmed and tainted. Because you know, certain parents and stuff like that can be a bad influence on their children, even if they don't mean to be. I mean, I'm sure we all had things in our childhood that we've done, that we didn't know any better, but because of our environment or because of what we saw, we took certain traits and things on. But in essence, we're pure. When we come here, we're pure vessels, and we're the closest to God, because we have not been tainted. So I hope that this helps somebody, because I know I can go on and on, but trust me, anything I say is out of the kindness of my heart and with the full obedience of what Spirit is guiding me to say. I never want to offend anybody in a sense of trying to hurt people or purposely, because triggers, like I said, if there's a trigger there, even if a person tries to provoke you, it's still a beautiful thing, because it reveals, okay, that still hurts me. I got to deal with that. I don't want that to stay there. This person could be talking about your weight. This person could be talking about your intelligence or whatever. Something that triggers the very thing in you. You got to remember, whatever the enemy used to harm or hurt you or spite you was used for your good at the end of the day. Because, like I said, a person can be actively trying to trigger you, and what it does is it reveals that wound inside of you so that you can heal it. So it's like, yeah, thank you, demon. Thanks. Because it was used to help you. In essence, the enemy thinks they're clever. They're really not that clever. They're a counterfeit God. So whatever God does, they do the opposite. But they're not that clever. God is an intelligence, a higher intelligence and source, far beyond eons and eons of what we can even think or fathom. The enemy's created by source God. So they're not that clever. They are clever in a sense, but they can't outsmart God. So never give power away to lower vibrational energy. Um, I might do a video about like identity, how the enemy uses people to operate in certain identities that are opposite of who they're called to be. I got a revelation. I was watching a video. This woman, she blesses me. She's so like so gifted. No wonder they call her anointed. She's so gifted. She was talking about identities and how she's talking about side chicks, and side chicks are not. If you notice, a lot of side chicks, they're really just wounded women and jealous, and that that jealousy stems from something, a wound as a child, whether it was the lack of their father's presence in their life, or they were abused in some way, or um, they felt some type of feeling left out or abandoned by a mother or a father or something, so they resent the parent, and when they get older, they feel spite. So they're like, okay, every man I come in contact with, I'm gonna play with his mind, I'm gonna ruin his life, I'm going to I'm gonna destroy his marriage. And sometimes it's jealousy of other women too that stems in that. But the enemy will use a woman that false identities, the player archetype. Most men that operate in that player archetype deal with mommy issues too. It's like they have um, a covert hatred towards women, where they may vow to sleep with women and destroy their lives. I'm gonna get this woman's hopes up and I'm gonna tear them down low because I feel low. That is a spirit. That is a wound. That is a trauma. And that might be opposite of their true self. Their true self isn't a player. The true self really wants love, really wants to love a woman or whatever. But that spirit, the enemy will use you and create you to operate in a false identity that's completely opposite of who you really are. That's not who you really are. That's a spirit on you. I'll do a whole nother thing on that. I'm not gonna get too much into that because I got a whole revelation about that. It's completely opposite of you. It's not truly your essence. It's a wound. And I notice a lot too that people that actively seek to hurt and harm others are very broken because they felt like being a good person or being, I didn't have any, I didn't have that in me to do that to other people at the time. So I've been hurt and bruised so much, or hurt by the very person that was supposed to love me. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to hurt as many people as I can because it feeds that demon. It makes the broken person that's hidden in all of that darkness, feel a little bit bigger and a little bit brighter because it's hurting other people. It's like, ha, got you. I made you feel like how I feel. If you guys would like a coaching session with me, because I'm about to get off, because I can go on and on. I don't want to do that. I don't want to take up too much of y'all time, unless you have time to come back and watch this later. Hey, sis, you made it. Hey, I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, but I do have different coaching sessions. Um, I have singles love coaching. I have love coaching for couples or people that are dealing with someone. I also have life purpose coaching sessions as well. They're live sessions, video or phone call, an hour session. I would love to help because I'm in that place right now where I want to be more hands-on rather than just solely putting everything into readings and cards and stuff because my gifting, I don't want to stagnate it in just cards because it's not. Um, so the more transparent you are, the better it is to help you. So you don't have to feel shamed or embarrassed or feel like I'm going to judge you. But it's only if you're truly ready to get the healing. That's really it. It's only when you're truly ready, like where you're tired, you're fed up, or you want change, when when you're ready and when you feel called to invest in yourself in that way. Otherwise, if you're not ready for the healing, I wouldn't encourage it. But yeah, only when you're ready, and just be as transparent and as authentic as you can, because the more transparent, more authentic, the better it is that I can help you. Just throw it all out on the table. You don't have to be shamed with me. I'm not a perfect person. I have flaws, but I do have wisdom from things that I've gone through, and certain things and ways about me that were very toxic that I now see that, and I have wisdom from that I could help someone with, and on top of whatever God gives me to help you with. So I will leave that information in the description. But other than that, y'all, I'm going to hop on out of this live. I appreciate you. For those of you that enjoyed this, thank you for watching. Or anybody that stood here and watched this or listened to it or will go back and listen to it, I appreciate y'all. So I'm going to hop off this live now. Much love to you guys. Be blessed. Be safe. Peace.